Hey, welcome to the process. My name is Dr. John Bush. We're continuing part 3, wide receivers, ADP, end of the season. You got to know this stuff, folks. So let's continue here. Obviously, you should see the first two parts first. And let's see, first data slide. Here we go. So looking 2015 to 2023 wide receivers. Looking at the ADP, so it's kind of preseason, and the actual average PPR points generated by those wide receivers in that sector there are shown, and the sectors that are in the top 30% across the data set there, and not including this, we're going, I don't know how far we're going. Let's see, how far are we going? Let's see, how far do I go? 157 maybe? ADP 157. I think that's how far we're going here. So right there. Oh, so anyway, just looking across at these years, you can see last year, pretty good. I mean, we've enjoyed since 2019 some really good production in this sector here. So it's the third and fourth rounds wide receivers, and if you look at the trend lines during this time, and if you look overall, it's been pretty much fine. There's a little bit of kind of low production 15, 16, 17, 18, but 19 to 23, things have been going pretty well. There's nothing very dramatic here. It's kind of, you're getting what you're getting here, even, into the fourth round. So there's nothing really surprising. Next sector, though, things change. So after the fourth round, so the takeaway that I take away is things get less productive. The green, of course, is where you want to be, and red is where you don't want to be. So there's some more failures here, but I think the trend is now we're in the mid 40 percentile of the population. So if you look at third, fourth round, lots of stellar production, and that has declined here. I mean, you can get lucky, but for you to have the idea that it just, it's gravy, down to the, sixth, seventh round, was it? Four, fifth, sixth. So fifth and sixth round, you need to dial back your expectations here. And if you look at the axis here from 0 to 400 points, and if you look at here they are, 0 to 400, you can see we're talking in this range around, let's just say 200, and now we're starting to get about 50 points less, just kind of an overall. And again, there's been some good 49 to 54. It's been some good years here, but for the most part, it's been, around 150 to 175, somewhere in there. So you're starting to get into the mid-tier production, this idea that there's tons of sleepers out there. Just be aware, we're now fighting for just some usable ones, some wide receivers that are good for streaming, good for good matchups, good for bye week replacements, kind of thing. So I guess this is 7th and 8th rounds. Now we're really starting to get risky britches. So you can see 15 to 18, it was very sad. So from 19 to 23, we're getting kind of a stretching of fairly mid-tier. So I can't explain why I haven't hunted, but clearly 2019 and up. So just in the back of your mind, realize people are looking at how things were last year and they think 2023, it's always been like that in this range, and that's not the case. So some of this data is just kind of for you to understand the depth, the variance, the possibilities here, and for you to just kind of blindly not really put effort in, oh, it was good last year, it'll be good this year. I think you're walking into a trap. So when I see this kind of information, I get a little worried here. I understand it's been good last 5-6 years, so I can't complain. Again, the trend lines are starting to break below 150 here. You know, it's looks like, and I don't know why. Let me go. I don't know why it's not showing me the red here. What's going on? What is this? I don't know what this is. I guess it's I guess it's 7380. So it's 79 to 84 is the red line. I don't know why it's doing that. Sometimes I don't know what this Excel does here, but that line is 79 to 80, fourth ADP. And that's been fairly good trend line. But the others, now you're starting to drop closer to the 100s here. And remember, I'm looking across. So if you looked at 2019, we're staying closer to 150 here. So just be aware, times have changed. Let's take a look. So this is as far as I went, right? So another way to look at this. So I rounded up year by rounds. So now I can look across the landscape, and I look at it this way, and you could see in the recent years, let's just say 19, it's been pretty good to about the 8th round, can we say? But after that, and certainly deep into the draft, this idea that you're just going to collect and collect, it's just not borne out by the data. And again, look how bad 2018 was. Oh my goodness. You know, so just be aware. Last year was, I mean, after the 9th round, there was some sadness here. Some good, but it wasn't just all gravy after the 9th round. So what I take away is, looks like you're pretty good in the 8th round. If you look at the last round where there is green, right, where in the top 30, last year was 5th, 4th, 5th, 6th, 4th. So somewhere between 4 and probably 5, I think you're pretty good in a lot of ways. Not as good as the first round if you look at the actual metrics, but you're getting highly usable ones. But after about the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, it's starting to get less. And then certainly 9th, there's starting to be some really sadness here. So if I had to work harder to find those sleepers, it would probably be 9th round. Just this data says, you know, concentrate to find those gems would be here. Thinking like 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, it's, yeah. And you probably have a better shot at finding some nice ones. So I guess if you're reaching into the bucket, the first 4 rounds is probably going to come out good for you. Not going to be a lot of failures. The next 4 probably going to be okay. There's some mid-tier. And then 9th round and back, it's risky business. So just the clock in your head as you're drafting, you just need to kind of think about those landmarks a little bit. Sometimes people get caught up and the draft gets away from them, and all of a sudden you're looking around and you're just making some stabs here. And so I urge you beforehand to kind of block the wide receivers, for instance, into these sectors and start fishing around. And again, depends on what ADP is. So what's in June is probably not August. So be aware of that. Let's see what I did here. So I converted, and so this is another way to look at this data. It's a very interesting way to look at it. I took the PPR here. Let's see, from right here. And I found the round, and I noticed the best that's ever been in the 15 to 23, and that was in 2022. It was 100 percentile. So you can compare every round one based on the best. 2021. So last year was 88%. Okay, so you can see the percentile of round two. Notice we're dropping and we're in the 68, 70. I mean, you're in the 60% of this best here, right? And so the best it's ever been, and I compare everything relative to that number, which was, that was 344. So I jumped ahead here. So screw that back. So now I'm looking each round 100%, and we see the worst in round one was 16, 17. So it hadn't been too bad. The best round two was in 2018. 2022 was 96%. Last year, 82nd, 91. So you can get a feel that we're in the 80s and 90s all the way down to the seventh round. So it hadn't been too bad. And if you look, 2020, seventh round, it's all good. And even 2022, it was great. Those years. That was a great year for wide receivers. Look at last year. Rut row, we had some 8th, 9th, had some good. So we had some goodies here late, but then some sadness as well. So if you wanted to divide the draft, first 7 and 8th through 14th, you could do it that way. But the idea that it's all gravy all the time is just not the case here. But for the most part, the last 4 years, 7th round and up haven't been too bad. If you look at each round and find the best that's ever been in the last, 9 years? So last year we had the best 5th round that's ever been. Almost the best 7th round. Not bad. Not bad at all. Look at 2017. You talk about sadness. 2015 was sad as well. So again, things have changed. So this just gives you another perspective. A lot of work to get a tool for you to think, right? That's all these things are at this point, is just inspire thinking here. So this was the best it's ever been. So that was the best in each round. Right here. Best in each round. This is the best anywhere last 9 years, 1 to 14. Turns out it was 2021 first round. And everything's based on that. So that may be high, but I think you get a feel for expectations here in the last few years. We've been in the 60s, but about, like I said, 5th, 6th round, we're starting to go to that next level. And, we're now in the 30s and 40s in here after about the 9th round. Okay. So you don't see a lot of super success. 2022 was a really strange year. 8th round, we were in the 70s. That's pretty remarkable. Don't know if we sucked in drafting that late or some surprises. Last year, if you look at this data, it's kind of what it was. Don't think anything surprises as groups here. So again, 4th, 5th round, probably okay. Okay, so if you're going to look for sleepers, maybe the 6th, 7th, 8th, really spend your time there, because it's going to get harder after the 9th round here. So I divide this data 15 to 18, 19 to 23. So if you divide it like that, and I looked at the averages, and here's the round averages here, and then I plotted them, and blue is what we've been dealing with. Really nice first round compared to the previous block of 5 years there, 4 years. They both drop here about to the 63rd round. Notice the difference is in previous years. Look at the drop off. 4th, 5th. We're hitting, by the 6th round, we're in the 50%. We've been above that here a little bit. I mean, it's not just like, wow, that's a big difference. It's not. But we have enjoyed a nice selection of wide receivers relative if you were going back in time and drafted 15 to 18. So don't think that it can't go back to that, okay? Because I'm not sure people can tell us. I'm not sure I know why this difference. It looks different to me. I probably should do an ANOVA and test it, but that's the data that I'm seeing here. And you can watch this decay. And like I said, about the 5th round in recent years, it's been pretty good. I mean, in some ways, look, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th are almost the same. You do drop at the 6th. So if I had to do a tier, I'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, or maybe 2, 3, 4, second tier. 5 is this transitional tier. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You can, maybe 12 is a transition. So you could spin that data to say, well, I shouldn't take a wide receiver till about the 4th round after I grab. So I grab one here, grab one there, maybe pick up a running back. The 3rd round, then, do you take that elite quarterback or tight end? I mean, there's the bind. I think a lot of people want to grab the best tight end and QB the 3rd and 4th, but you're giving up and you're gambling on that 5th round for wide receiver. So if you, or running back, if you do a wide receiver, running back, tight end, quarterback, wide receiver, you've got 2 pretty good wide receivers, and you've been able to shoehorn in an elite tight end quarterback here, and then maybe a wide receiver, and then you hope you grab your RB2 kind of draft strategy. That may be how this data is trying to point us. Again, that's the kind of information that this data can, this analysis of this data can provide us here. So just kind of, again, in the big picture, how are we playing our draft here? I mean, you can do mocks and whatnot if you want to test some of these things. But the debate always is, where do you grab that QB tight end? To me, if you're going to grab a tight end QB, so you grab a Boss WR, a hopefully Boss RB, then you grab a tight end and QB, you're hoping that fifth round and sixth round are going to return something. So if you do RBWR, but you realize if you wait, I mean, to me, it almost looks like if you're going to play that game, then you might grab a WR in the fifth round. You have a little bit of a better shot, and then an RB in the sixth round there. Okay, so those are things to think about. I don't necessarily have, and again, depends on what the league's going to give you. Who knows? But just kind of an overall draft strategy here for the most part. Let's see what else to do. Okay, 20 minutes, so I got time here. So here's the round. Here's the RB versus WR, where I actually give you the data. And I look at the drop between the rounds. So here was round one. So round two, here's the average drop right in here. So I don't know, what is that? 1, 2, 12. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. So maybe 9%, something. So if you pair those up, you get this data. RB versus WR drop 2023 between rounds from, looking at, and you can see the first drop, second. So really, it looks like the advantage with RBs are high in the eighth round, or actually ninth round. Here something's going on. Notice here's 2023 RBs in green. Pretty much, boy, something happened in the 8th and 9th. Okay. So 8th was great last year. 9th was sucky. Then we kind of great. And if you look at the drop, about the same, and then we drop down. WR drops last year were much more steady. So WRs are going to be much more steady in the drops. And I don't know why. Oh, here we go. So if you look at the average drops, it's 4%, and wide receivers 23%. Having a top wide receiver draft 1 versus RB draft round 1, you can get the same guy round 2. So this, to me, says WR round 2 take an RB, round 3 take a WR, doesn't matter, round 4 take a WR, take a RB, WR, RB, RB, probably maybe an RB here, about the same. So another way is to kind of plot this drop between the rounds, and just showing that round 1 to round 2 RBs are just not, you're not losing a lot, but with WRs you tend to lose a lot more between the rounds. What I'm saying is, it looks like the boss WRs you're losing if you wait to the second round. It almost pointing, take that wide receiver in the first round. I know people are taking RBs in the first round, but this data almost points to WRB first round, second round. So that's how you can look at this data. 24 minutes. I think I've had enough here. So again, just sketching at this, thinking about it a little bit, you can kind of think about it as far as, your draft patterns here. So again, this is the kind of data that you might want to look at and listen closer to your draft to kind of refresh what these metrics, what the analysis of these metrics are trying to push us to. Okay, I think I've had enough fun. Part 3 here. We'll continue part 4 next time. Okay, Dr. Bush for the process, scienceoffantasyfootball.com. Check it out. We're going where nobody else is going. I just, at least, unless it's behind their paywall, I doubt it. Okay, the few that are listening, thank you. Yay. Okay, take care.